Hey loves, and welcome back to my channel. It is Ijoma here, and in today's video we're going to learn how to make this ankara bodysuit. It is a smoked bodysuit. You know, ankara is not elastic, but with the help of the smocking, it is elastic now. Like after making it, it is really elastic. Any size can wear it, from like size 6 to size 12 can wear this bodysuit. So you'll be needing 3 yards of ankara fabric for this particular one that I made. But if you want to make the bodysuit that has a fuller sleeve, you will need like 3.5 yards or 4 yards. Let's say 4 yards if you want the sleeve to be very full. Now we are going to do the pattern drafting first of all before the sewing. You cannot sew this without pattern drafting somehow. Now this is the ankara fabric that we have. I have my tape, my marker, my ruler. These are the basic things that I need. First of all, we are going to be drafting the front. Then with the help of the front, we can draft the back. The front and the back are not really the same. Now from the shoulder, I am going to mark my chest line, that is 8 inches. My bust point is 10 inches, that is my bust point. My half length or waistline is 17 inches. Then after marking these 17 inches, we are going to draw our lines first of all. Then after drawing these lines, I have the chest line, the bust point, and the waistline. Please label this so that you will not get confused. Now we are going to need our crotch measurement. Crotch is really important, as if you are making a trouser or a short, right? Now from the waistline, I will get my crotch. My crotch is 11 inches. My crotch depth is 11 inches. If you want to get your crotch depth, divide your hip by 4 plus 1 inch, a perfect crotch. Hip divided by 4 plus 1 inch. So my hip is 40 divided by 4, that is 10 plus 1, that is 11. Then you measure 11 from the waistline. For the neckline, I will mark 3 by 3. The normal 3 by 3 neckline that we use. This is a turtleneck bodysuit, so use 3 by 3 for the front neckline. After marking the 3 by 3, we are going to measure our normal shoulder measurement. My shoulder is 15, that is 7.5, but I marked 8 inches for now. Then after marking the shoulder, we are going to connect our armhole. This is the front armhole. After marking this straight line, I will determine the midpoint of the armhole, that is 4 inches. Then I will come in by half an inch from that midpoint. After coming in by the half an inch, I'll go ahead and connect this armhole. After connecting this armhole, the next thing that we are going to do is to mark our bust measurements. For now, take your normal bust measurements plus 1 inch seam allowance, your normal bust measurements, your normal waistline measurements. So my waist is 28 divided by 4, that is 7 plus 1 inch seam allowance. Sorry, my waist is 27 divided by 4 plus 1 inch seam allowance. Now for the hip measurement, you are going to find the midpoint between the waistline and the crotch line. Waistline and cross line, the midpoint is 6 inches. Now I'll go ahead and mark a straight line at that midpoint, the midpoint between your waistline and your crotch line. That is where you're going to take your hip measurements. Then this is the hip line. Let me label it. My hip is 40 inches divided by 4 plus 1 inch seam allowance. Then I am going to connect the waistline to the hip line. My waist to my hip. Now at the crotch line, we are coming down by 2 inches. From the crotch line, you are going to come down by 2 inches. This 2 inches is the allowance that will enter in between your laps. You know how to close the bodysuit. This is the place that will enter in between your laps. Then from that area, you will come in by 2 inches as well. From the crotch line, come down by 2. From the center of the pattern paper, go in by 2 inches as well. You can as well go in by 1.5. It depends on how wide you want that area to be. Now we are going to connect this line to the hip line. If you don't want to make any mistake, from the hip line, place your tape rule. You can see the way I placed my tape rule. Just come in by 5 inch. From that place I placed my tape rule. Then I am going to connect, make a dot first of all, then connect. This is giving us a pant shape. You know our normal underwear, normal pants, it will give you that pant shape. Now I am going to cut out this front pattern. This is all we are going to do for the front pattern. Remember your shoulder slant. Now using this pattern paper, I will cut out the back pattern. The back pattern will be a bit different from the front. It will be a bit longer than the front. Now this is the pattern paper. I will place the front on it. So the crotch depth of the back is going to be longer. Reason is because we have butts at the back. Our bum bum is at the back. You know, the bum bum will take up more allowance. That's why we are going to make the crotch depth deeper. After placing our pattern paper, I will mark my back neckline. My back neckline, the depth should be 1.5, just 1.5, because we are making a turtleneck bodysuit. Now, after marking the 1.5, I will connect to my neckline. Then at the crotch depth, you will come down by extra 4 inches. From that front, you will come down by extra 4 inches. The back will be way longer. Then you will go in by 2 inches. If you want to go in by 1.5, remember you can do that. Then after going in by these 2 inches, we are going to curve the back. So for the back of this bodysuit, you are free to determine how wide you want it to be. If you want it to cover your butt very well, you can give it the shape you want. If you want it to show your butt, you can also give it the shape you want. So I will place my tape rule at the hip line again. Then I will come in by 7 inches. You can see the way I place this tape rule diagonally. So you are going to come in by 7 or 6 inches. It depends on how covered you want the back to be. Then you are going to connect that line to the hip line. First of all, mark your dots. Then you are going to connect the lines. So this is the line I have. If you want to use your curve to get this line, you can as well use your curve to get the line. It all depends on how you want it to be at the back. Then after doing this, we are going to cut out. This is just the difference between the front and the back. The first difference is the neckline. The second one is this crotch area. Now I am going to cut out the back pattern. After cutting out this pattern, we are going to use the slash and spread method because we are doing smocking. We are going to do smocking on this fabric. You know, this is an ankara fabric. If you cut it out the way you have it here, you will not feel free. So we are going to smock it. This is the front pattern and this is the back pattern. Now we are going to fold out our fabric, the fabric that we are going to use. I will start with the front first of all, and you will be cutting out your fabric on fold. So this is the fabric that I will be using. I'll go ahead and fold. After folding, place your pattern paper on the fabric you have. Then you are going to draw straight lines on this paper. These lines that I am marking now are the lines where I'm going to slash from. So I'll just go ahead and mark like 4 lines. They should be 2 inches or 3 inches away from each other. Then after doing this, label those lines. Then you are going to slash. You will start slashing these lines. You know, this is a bodysuit, so you need your pattern in order to get the accurate measurement. So right now I am slashing. And after slashing, I will start spreading and make sure that the lines align with the help of that straight line we marked around the waistline, bust point, chest line. You can get the actual length. So I have 2 inches space between all of them. I spreaded them with 2 inches. You can spread with 1.5. Then after doing that, you are going to add 1 inch seam allowance round this. You can add half an inch, but add 1 inch because we are going to hem the down part. Now after adding the 1 inch, I am going to cut out the remaining parts of this fabric. So after spreading your paper, you can use 1.5 to spread, you can use 2. After spreading, add 1 inch allowance. So this is the shape that I have. It is looking big, right? Remember, we are still going to smoke it. So now I am marking straight lines on this fabric. These are the lines where I'm going to run my stitch on. So go ahead and mark your straight line. You should have like 0.75 or 0.5 space between these lines. So just take your time and mark your lines. It can be 0.5 away from each other. It can be 0.7, but 0.7 should be your highest. So after marking these lines, I will keep the front fabric aside. These lines will guide you a lot when you are sewing. You can see it looks big. So after marking these lines, you fold a fabric for the back part. So after folding for the back part, we will repeat the same thing we did at the front. We will mark straight lines at the back. And after marking these straight lines, you will label. Before you mark this straight line, please remember to mark a line at your waistline so that when you are spreading, you will not get confused, because I forgot to mark a straight line at my waistline. So after marking these lines, I will label 1, 2, 3, and 4 and 5. So after labeling the paper, you will start slashing. So this is number 1, number 2, number 3, 4, and 5. So after slashing, you are going to spread with 2 inches or 1.5 inch. It depends on how full you want your smocking to be, or how tight you want your smocking to be. So you spread with 2 inches, and after spreading, add 1 inch seam allowance around the crotch area. Add 1 inch seam allowance around the crotch area. It is really important. Add it before you cut out. So I am cutting out right now, and I came down by 1 inch, you can see. Then after cutting this is the back, and after cutting out this back, I will mark my lines, like the lines where I am going to run a stitch on, my stitches on, sorry. So if I open it up, this is what I have. I'll also go ahead and mark my lines. So this is the fabric that I will be using for the sleeve. I don't have enough fabric. I used 3 yards. I'll go ahead and fold it twice. Then I will cut my normal armhole. After cutting out the normal armhole, I will leave this sleeve this way. The full length of the sleeve is 30 inches. I made it 30 inches. So after cutting it, I'll just leave it this way. You will have 2 sleeves, right? Then after cutting out this sleeve, you open up your sleeve. If you want, you can mark your lines, or you can notch where you want your smocking to stop at. The smocking will stop at a particular area, let's say around the elbow. Then the rest of the sleeve will be free. So this is the thread I'll be using. This is an elastic thread. You add it to your bobbin. This is our bobbin. I've added my elastic. So the top will have a normal thread. The thread under will be an elastic thread. Some people call it rubber thread or elastic thread. So after adding that elastic thread under, you start running a stitch on those lines. You start running your stitches on those lines that you marked. Marking these lines is very, very important. It will help maintain a very fine and a very neat finishing after sewing this bodysuit. So I am done with the first line. The second line, this is around the neck. I'm sewing the neckline area, the shoulder neckline area now. You can see what I'm doing there. So if you reach the end, you can just trim off the thread, then you will continue. So you can see that as I am running a stitch on this, the gathers are forming. So this is really beautiful, though it may take time. Doing this smocking may take time, but just take your time, mark your lines. It will help you a lot. Then you start running your stitches. So now this is for the front part. After doing this, I will hem the crotch area. Do not use a bias. Anything you are sewing on this should be with that elastic thread. Your elastic thread should be under. Maintain that elastic thread. The only place where you're going to use a normal thread is when you are shaping these bodysuits, like when you are shaping the sides. But any other thing that you are sewing should be with your elastic thread. If you are making the turtleneck area, you will use your elastic thread. Everything will be an elastic thread. All the areas will be made with an elastic thread. So as you can see, as I'm running my stitches, the gathers are forming. So I will continue doing this so that you guys can see how the gathers are being made. So now I am approaching the crotch area. I am very close to the crotch area. So when you reach that crotch area, you will leave like 1-inch fabric, and that 1-inch fabric is what you are going to hem it with. So if you want, you can just trim down. If you feel like the crotch area is too wide, you can just trim it down a bit. You can see that everything is drawing, like everything is very, very stretchy. Now after trimming off a bit, I'll go ahead and hem that crotch area. So if you are sewing, you should sew from the right side of this fabric. If you are hemming that area, you should hem from the right side of this fabric, because your elastic thread is under. You don't want the elastic thread to be showing on the right side of this fabric. You will have to sew on top. You will hem from the top. You can see how I'm folding it. So I am done hemming that side and everything is just free. That's why I said that you should maintain your elastic thread for everything you are doing, except when you are shaping the side. So I'll go ahead and hem the other side. You can see I'm sewing from the right side. I'm sewing on the right side of this fabric. So as you are folding, make sure you are dragging the ankara fabric. So after hemming the sides, I'll now hem the butt area or the crotch area. Now, for the people that want to use a press button, this is the area where you are going to fix your press button. If you want to use a bra hook, this is the area where you are going to add your bra hook. So I am hemming that area. And after hemming it, that will be all for the front. For the neckline, you can see I did not turn the neckline. Just leave the neckline like that for now. Now, after doing this, I am going to repeat the same procedure on the back part. It is very easy. So now this is what we have. You can see the neckline, the waist, the full length, the crotch area. This is what we have. Now, this is the front. I'll go ahead and repeat the same thing on the back. So before running the stitches at the back, you are going to mark your lines. If you can do it without the lines, that is okay, but I would suggest you mark your lines. So this is the fabric for the back. It is still plain. I'll mark my lines, and after marking the lines, I'll go ahead and run my stitches on these lines. So you can see the neckline. I know some people will be asking, will this thing enter my head? Of course it will, because we did the slashing and spreading method. After doing the slash and spread method, it will accommodate your head very, very well, because the neckline will expand more. The neckline will expand more. Now, after marking these lines, I'll go ahead and stitch. I am done stitching, and this is what I have. I have my front piece and my back piece, and they are all looking neat and beautiful. So now I will join the shoulder area first of all. Just close the shoulder area for now. After closing the shoulder area, you will shape. That will be later, but let's just close the shoulder area, then we'll add our torso neck. I'll go to my sewing machine and I will use the elastic thread as well. I am done closing the shoulder, and this is what I have. If I open it up, you can see what I have. I have not shaped the sides for now. Now, after turning this shoulder, after shaping this shoulder, I am going to fix my turtleneck. This is the fabric that I'll be using to cut out my turtleneck. I will make it 25 inches long. I measured my round head. Just take your head circumference, make sure that it can enter your head. So I measured my head circumference and I have 23 inches, but I made this fabric 25 inches so that I will have enough space for my head, like for my head allowance. Now after making it 25 inches, I will make it 3 inches on fold. It should be on fold so that it will look very neat. It should be 25 inches long, and then the width should be 3.5 or 2.5, from 2.5 to 3.5. It depends on how high you want your turtleneck to be. Then after doing this, I'm going to mark my lines on this fabric. You're going to smock this particular place, and remember, you still do this thing with your elastic thread. So go ahead and mark your lines. These are the lines where I'm going to run my stitches on. Make sure you are using your elastic thread, and it should be on fold when running these stitches. After running the stitches, this is what I have. It is elastic. I will use 1/2 inch to close the side. So after closing the side, this is what I have. You can see that it is elastic. Now I will go ahead and add it to the round neck. Use your elastic thread also for this area. Maintain that elastic thread. Go ahead and run it round the neckline. And after running it round the neckline, this is what I have. It is really beautiful and fitted. It entered my head freely because everything is stretchy. Now I am going to close the sides, and this is the time where you will use your normal thread for the top and the lower stitch. So use your normal thread to shape so that it will not tear. Go ahead and use your normal thread and shape. Use that 1 inch and do your shaping. So I'm trying to change my thread. This is the normal thread. I will go ahead and shape. So after shaping, you can see what I have. Just feel free and trim off all the excess threads you have. You can see that the back part is longer than the front, and you fix your press button down there. So I will turn it over and I will trim the armhole. After trimming the armhole, the only thing remaining right now is our sleeve, and the sleeve is really important. This bodysuit is really looking good. Seriously, I didn't know that I will like it, and the fabric is actually giving me what I want. So pin down the crotch area, then you are going to trim your armhole a bit. After trimming your armhole, you can now smock your sleeve. So it depends on the type of sleeve you want to use. I smocked my sleeve. It depends on the type of sleeve you are interested in. So these are my sleeve pieces. I will mark the lines where I want my smocking to stop at. So from the armhole area, I will smock, and when I reach my ankle area, I will stop. I will stop at the ankle area. So after doing this, I will come back and show you guys what we have. So use your normal thread to hand the full length of this sleeve. Use your normal thread. Then after using the normal thread, you can use your elastic thread for the smocking. Now I will go ahead and shape, and after shaping, I will fix my sleeve, and that will be all. Guys, trust me, the result of this bodysuit is really beautiful. So these are my sleeves after smocking. I'll just go ahead and shape with a normal thread. So after shaping with a normal thread, when you are fixing this sleeve to the armhole area, you will use your elastic thread. When fixing it round the armhole, use your elastic thread so that you can feel comfortable when wearing this. So after shaping, this is what it looks like. I'll go ahead and fix the sleeves to the bodysuit, and that would be all. So at the end of the day, this is what we have. I hope this is beautiful. So guys, registration for our physical training is ongoing. I have a fashion school in Enugu. If you want to enroll in our fashion school, just feel free to send me a DM at Sew with Ijoma on Instagram and at Sew with Ijoma on Facebook. I will reply you. So thank you all so much for watching, and please do not forget to subscribe and click on the notification bell so that anytime I upload a new video, you will be notified. Also, give this video a thumbs up so that more soulmates can see it. Bye.